So, welcome to the first episode of Freshman's Podcast, the no BS, newbie friendly podcast for the new and aspiring NFT traders, creators, and collectors. NFT stands for non-fungible token. And if you have ever wondered how people make money from this, and if it's all just a big scam, hang out with us and hear the good, the bad, and the ugly stories from ordinary people that are simply trying something extraordinary. By way of a small disclaimer, no part of this interview is financial advice. Crypto and NFT investments are speculative. You can lose all of the money that you invest. Only invest what you can afford to lose. So today, I'm here with my guest, Brian Campbell, Facebook OG, online marketer, mathematician, NFT investor, and creator of 4 high-value NFT collections. Welcome, Brian. I am thrilled to have you today.
Hey, Christine. It's a delight to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Great. So let's start at the beginning. Let's get to the root of the whole situation. What got you interested in NFTs? Was it the art, the money, or something else? And how long have you been doing this?
Two things. I first heard about NFTs in 2019 or 20, and Gary Vee was talking about them. And he's obviously someone that's always on the pulse of future trends and what's happening now and what's going to be good in the future. So I was already familiar with crypto. I got involved with Bitcoin back in 2016. So, I was curious about NFTs, and I had noticed that every time Gary Vee mentioned, I like this NFT collection, it would go up 400%. So I saw the opportunity just based on like if a community is behind an NFT, like it has the potential to raise the value, right? So I was interested in it and wanted to get involved with it, but then COVID happened, and we all reprioritized. And even though NFTs were booming and happening during COVID, I got deeper into qigong and I was doing other marketing stuff. So I just and got deep into music, playing a lot of guitar. So I kind of forgot about NFTs, like it wasn't my top priority. So recently, 6 months ago, 4 months ago, I encountered another problem where the credit card companies all of a sudden, like I got a call from my client saying, I just got banned from Stripe, right? Got a call from another client a week later. I just got banned from Stripe, right? It started happening to many of my clients, right? Like 4 or 5 of my clients got banned from Stripe in like a 3-month period. Now, credit card merchant processing companies have always been unfriendly to online marketers. We're not doing a conventional business. We're not selling t-shirts. We're not doing the normal thing. So this has always been a problem. I've been banned from 10 different credit card processors in the last 25 years, not because I was doing anything wrong, but because one day they decide to change their policies, or they say, no, we don't want to deal with you anymore. They will freeze your funds. And I've had $150,000 frozen for 6 months before. And I really, when this started happening again, I said, you know what? It's not a matter of like, is it going to happen again? It's when is it going to happen again? And okay, now Stripe was the wonderful solution that was friendly and nice and kind to all of us. Now they're becoming like the hammer drops and you're screwed, and there's no judge or jury, nothing you could do about it. So I don't like that. And okay, what's our choice? Go get 4 other merchant processors as a backup. But then what's going to happen 6 months from now when everyone goes to the next best one? It happens again, right? And they can literally put you out of business overnight. So I decided, well, it's also kind of ridiculous that if I want to use PayPal or Stripe or one of the other merchants, right, that are popular, like if I wanted to send you $20,000, they're going to charge like 5%. It's going to take 3 business days for that to happen. But, and you're on the complete opposite side of the world as me. We're like a 10-hour, 11-hour time zone difference. It's pretty much opposite. But I realized, wait a minute, it was 2024 a few months ago. Now we're 2025. So wait a minute, we're living in 2025 here. Like if I had crypto, I could send it to Christine, that 10 grand, and she would have it in, like I would send it and she refreshes her screen and has it. It would cost me 1/3 of a cent if I use Solana, right? Like, and PayPal's not going to charge me, what is it, $100 for that transaction or whatever it is. Maybe it's like $200, right? And she doesn't have to wait 3 days for it. She has it. So I'm like, and I'm not political, but if the guy who was running for president, who actually won and is now the president, says America's going to be the crypto capital of the world, I believe that that's enough hype where enough people will believe in it, where it's going to grow again. And in 2016, I got involved in Bitcoin when it first hit 10 grand. That got my attention. Wow, Bitcoin. Like I heard about Bitcoin when it was 20 bucks. I knew about it. It hit 10 grand. So I got involved. Then it was 20. That wasn't even 10 years ago. It was like 8 or 9 years ago. Now it's $100,000. So I said, you know what? I doubted Bitcoin in the past decade here and there. And there was times where I didn't double down on it. It just went up 10 times in the last 9 years. You know what? In the next 10 years, it's going to hit 1 million. I'm convinced of it. So I'm just all in. That's my personal choice. I'm not saying anyone else should believe that, but how many decades do you want to miss?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, we're not getting younger, any of us, and time goes on. And I think we've seen enough proof now to know that there's something happening in this space. And, the more people can understand what's going on, I believe they can then decide for themselves if they want to take the opportunity or if they want to pass on it. So that's a really great introduction, Brian. And thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So, as a mathematician, did numbers play a role in your decision, or was it more of a leap of faith or a balance between the two?
Well, it's a balance of two, but I'll tell you what, I don't really consider this a leap of faith anymore. I think the leap of faith for me was in 2016 when I believed, okay, this is the next thing, but there wasn't a precedent. There wasn't enough of a track record or a history. Right now, crypto is silently like taking over the world. Like DeFi is the fastest growing industry there is. There's $60 million a day worth of NFTs being traded on just the website we trade on. And that's not even the biggest. I think it's here. And what I always look for is something that I discovered by accident in 2000 when I was 20 years old and I first got started in business. I learned a little thing like how to make a website, right? And I had to figure it out. I had to go to 30 different sources and get one secret and somehow magically synthesize them together to figure out how to do it. You couldn't buy a course on it. No one would teach you. Like there weren't that many people that knew how to do it other than ultra geek nerd kind of people that I didn't know. Right. So I learned how to make a website. It's not because I was smart. It's like, well, I am smart, right? I got a 4.0 in college. I'm a mathematician, but it wasn't because I was smart. That actually messed me up thinking it's because I'm smart. It's because I learned how to do something that was high in demand. Websites were taken off. The internet was taken off. And there weren't that many people that knew how to do it. So it wasn't competitive yet, right? Like now everyone, like on Facebook, you can go and create basically a website for free. Everyone has it. And you could go to Squarespace for $10 a month and create a website. Everyone has access to that now. So it's a lot more difficult to make money that way. So when I saw this thing, at the time, I didn't know. I just was young and had no idea. But I made $2 million in 20 months, starting with $2. I placed an ad. It took off basically because I knew how to make a website. And most people did not. So fast forward to now, man, I'll tell you what. I wanted to make an NFT. And then I'm like, I don't know anyone who knows how to do it. I knew one guy who wanted to charge like 25 grand. I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous. So I'm like, I need to learn how to do this. And I tell you what. Only because I'm smart and I have 20 years of programming knowledge. I'm not a programmer, but I know enough to mess with stuff. I can edit code. I can't really write it, but I can mess with it. So I went deep down this rabbit hole and I figured out how to make NFTs. And I'll tell you what, there's not that many people that know how to do it, which is great. That's exactly what I look for. So I've seen this pattern happen over and over and over again the last 25 years, right? Because I've been in the industry. I've been getting all the emails from all the top leaders in this field. So I followed it for a long time. And if you follow things for a long time, you see patterns, right? So, with this, what I'm seeing, this is purely just my understanding of the pattern that I've seen repeat so many times, is we're at the kind of thing where people are now I'm shocked at how many people understand, like they've even heard of an NFT. I've just been asking people, hey, have you ever heard of NFTs? I'm just curious. Yeah, and then a lot of people, everyone's heard of Bitcoin. But it's the kind of thing where this is so cool. And once you try it, you're never going back. It's addictive to anyone who discovers it and tries it. My personal theory, and I doubt I'm going to be wrong on this, but again, it's none of us have a crystal ball. Nobody can predict the future, right? So it's total opinion is like 5 years from now, everyone's going to be pretty heavy into crypto. And like right now, it's still at a point where everyone knows about it, but not everyone's done it yet. And look at how fast smartphones took over. Look at how fast the internet, digital downloads replacing the record. Like we went from CDs to digital to downloads in like 3 or 4 years. And then we went to full streaming within another 5 years, right? I never imagined I wouldn't own my music collection like in the form of an album or CD growing up. Now we just stream anything we want, right? Um, this is that for money. And I'll just add, um, this is not speculation. This is a fact. If I put $1,000 under my mattress, right, and I come back in 5 years, it's going to be worth. Okay, now this is a number that's not a fact. Like it depends. It'll be worth like 80 cents. It might be worth 60 cents the way things have been going, right? I have to pay twice as much at the gas pump right now and twice as much for groceries as I did before COVID. And that's in 5 years, double. And it's more than doubled where I live. Like $100 worth of groceries I could have got for $40 5 years ago. And I'm not exaggerating. It's totally, it's crazy, right? So we know that because there's not a limited supply, there's unlimited money that they can print. And they do print it. We have precedent of that for the last 80 years, that the dollar 10 years from now will be worth, like the old saying, right? This goes back to the 60s. A comedian said, what is it? A dollar, a dime isn't worth a nickel anymore. I think that's the phrase.
Something along those lines. It is true.
But here's the difference. We all know this. Is it like if you pay rent for the next 10 years and rent a house, right? 10 years go by and now rents go up. If you owned the house and had if you owned it after 10 years, you want the price to go up because now you can rent it out for more or you can sell it for more. But if you're renting the house, okay, you're paying right now in Hawaii about $3,000 a month to rent a house, right? And that's the worst house that you could find would be about that, right? Well, 10 years from now, you'll be paying $6,000 to rent that same house. Now, meanwhile, the person who, like we bought our house here, this is like 11 years ago, right? So our mortgage is like, what is it, $1,400, right? We could rent it out for $3,000, but 10 years from now, we'll have like 5 years left to pay it, right? We'll still be paying $1,400 when the rents are $6,000. So what's happening with crypto and DeFi is, do you want to own your money or do you want to rent it? We've all been renting it from the government, and look at what they do. I'm just saying, like, I'm not adding any other emotional judgment to it other than, do you want to own something that's going to increase in value or decrease? And that's why historically it's been gold. And now crypto is basically like a digital form of gold. Gold is problematic. If your gold is buried in your backyard, someone could steal it. They could dig it up, right? How do you move? If you had a lot of gold, it's heavy. It might be 20 pounds or 1,000 pounds if you're rich. How do you move it? Now you have to hire bodyguards to move it. The beauty of crypto is, man, you got a 12-word phrase that's either on here or written on a piece of paper, and you can access your money from anywhere in the world. So that's why crypto is pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go to the next question then, Brian. What was the first NFT that you ever bought, and was it a win, a loss, or just a complete disaster?
So I just have to say it's maybe like a break even. I'll tell you that. So the first NFT that I bought was a giraffe. Many of you know about Gary Club and Gary Henderson. So I bought a giraffe because I met Gary, and it was cool because when I met Gary, I'm like, okay, I've been wanting to do NFT stuff for 5 years. And then I met a guy who's also been an online marketer, knows a lot of the same people I know, has worked with people that I know for the last 25 years. So we hit it off. And then I'm like, wait a minute, he's doing all the stuff that I've been in my mind planning to do but never got to. So I immediately bought the giraffe, and actually that experience triggered what I'm doing now. So I bought the giraffe. It was like $80, and then I went and bought like $1,000 worth of giraffes. The price went up to like $120, and now I had the dozen of them. But then I kind of felt like I missed out. There was all these OGs that had 100 of them or 200 of them. I met some really cool people. I met one guy that has like 300 of them, and I missed the boat. It's too late for me. Like, I'm not going to pay $100 times 300. I'm not going to spend 30 grand. Like, I missed it. So I said, well, I know this is a growing industry, but if your minimum price is $100, or, even what it would take for me to buy 100 would be like a year. And now the price is 300 for a new person to come in. I'm like, well, I'm extreme. I might do something like that, but I know the average person won't. I mean, I'm not normal. So I was like, the other thing I realized I originally just bought one, and I said, this is pretty cool. And I started looking at them, and I'm like, I want more. So I went and bought like 4 more. And it's like, once you have 4, you want 10, right? So I'm like, I want more, and I just felt like, man, okay, I just spent now I'm up to like $1,500, and I just didn't want to go that deep, but I thought, yeah, there's thousands of NFTs. If there's one that was like $5 or $10, I could own a bunch of them. And then for it to go from 10 to 20 to double, it'll happen faster than 100 to 200. So I bought the next one. And then after a little while, I saw that, okay, that collection was cool, but they had given thousands away for free. So every time I bought it, the price would go up. And then the people who got it for free, okay, now the price is at $8. People got it for free, said, I'll sell for $7. Back down to $7. Oh crap. Let me buy it at $7. Now it's up to $9. I got it free, man. I'll take $6. Back down to $6. It was, this sucks, man. So I wanted to create an NFT collection that would actually preserve the value. And bottom line, 99% of the NFTs out there, their theory is let's just give it away to everyone because they want people to buy it and trade it. But then there's thousands of them that someone got for free, so they could sell it at any price lower than the current price. So it takes a long time for enough people to buy it all back at the lowest prices, so that can't happen. But if it's never given away for free and there's a community behind it that understands the value, that doesn't have to happen, and it doesn't have to take a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think it is worth saying that there are a lot of scammers in this space, and there's a lot of people who come in and they put up a collection, they make you believe it's solid, and then they might just pull the rug out from under you and disappear and leave you in the lurch with all your NFT. And you talked a little bit about this experience of the floor dropping, people coming in, listing lower and lower with a race to the bottom. Do you think it is controllable, or is it just pure chaos? Because humans are humans and they will list whichever way they will list. What do you think is the antidote to that behavior pattern?
So, I mean, it really is the community behind it, right? Because the more people participate, the more people believe in it. There's ramifications. Like we're on the internet now, so the more people that are talking about it on the internet, the more people it will attract, right? And that's also why we have a big community behind what we're doing, because if people can come and meet the people involved and talk to them and see why they're involved and see that, oh no, like this community was founded by people that have already known each other for many years, that have already worked together in other industries. And then you meet everyone, you realize these are all kind-hearted, nice people, like people, yeah, this is legit. Like there's real people behind it. Automatically, we're different than 99% of the other stuff where it's just totally anonymous and you have no idea what you're buying and you have no idea if someone could be coming and selling it cheap. But I really don't want to take it's all a scam or that's a scam kind of thing. It's not really. Like, if you think about it, okay, someone releases a collection of 10,000 NFTs. They give it out to 1,500 people. Okay. If there's something special about it, and of those 1,500 people, some people start to believe in it because they like the artwork. Ultimately, this is all artwork, right? And art collecting is nothing new. It's what wealthy people have been doing for hundreds of years, collecting art, right? Like one of the big things was when the Nazis took over, they stole all the art. It was a big deal. They stole billions of dollars worth of art, while they were doing all kinds of other evil stuff. But they understood the value of it, right? So, like, we're doing it digitally, but it's the same principle, right? Collectibles, antiques, all that kind of stuff. It's all happening like NFTs. But what it is what gives it value? A bunch of people see that this is special. This is different for whatever reason. It could be the community. It could be the artwork itself. Like people love Picasso because of the style of it. And I don't know why. It's just that's unique. There's something special to me about Salvador Dali's work, right? Like it just has value, right? So, with the other collection, okay, the owner, the founder, right? They released 1,000 of them out of 10,000, right? And they gave 3,000 away for free. They still have 6,000, right? And they listed at this initial price, okay, $20, right? So now it's $20. A bunch of people buy it for 20, but then the people say, wait, I got this free. I'll sell it for 18, right? That's 1,800% profit. Of course they'll do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Price comes from 20 down to 18. And in fact, that will, and then the impatient people are like, no, I want 17 right now. So they listed 17. Psh, it'll all come down to 10 cents, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because no one ever promised or guaranteed this was worth $20. The guy put it out there, gave it away, set a price. It's a guess. And then price comes down. After the price kind of equalizes, the guy who made it's like, okay, it's trading at $2 now. I'll just put 100 out because I'll try to get $200. But what that does is it lowers the price to like 160. There's still people that got it for free. I'll take 160. I'll take 16 cents. I don't need 20, right? Ultimately, there's a point at which the real believers are like, man, this is a dime. I don't care if it goes to a nickel. I want 100 of them. And when enough people can do that and buy it, and then no one wants to sell below that price, you establish a real floor, a real price. Okay. And mathematically, this is not a theoretical thing. What's the real value of the NFT? It's what people have actually paid for it. So if they got it for free, the real value is zero, right? If I give 10,000 away for free, the real value is zero. No one spent a dime on it yet. Once people have bought it up to the point where everyone spent $1 for it, it's worth 10,000. It's worth $1. So the floor price and the market cap are not actual value. They are like theoretical value based on the current point in time and the cheapest item. So I want everyone who's into NFTs to understand this. The floor price really has nothing to do with the value of the collection. It's a snapshot at this point in time, and it's giving an indication so you can compare it to other collections. What it's really telling you is this is the cost to own 1% of the collection. It could be calculated from the market cap. That's actually the value of it. It's not saying this collection is worth 100 grand. No one's going to buy that collection for 100 grand at this moment in time. So the market cap says 100K. Divide it by 100, it's $1,000. So it costs you 1,000 to own 1% of it. You can compare it to other collections and say, okay, which is my best bargain? When I compare what it costs to own a 1% and what I believe it's going to do in the future. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You can tell what people have actually paid for it to get a real value, okay, is look at all volume. So you can look at all the volume and say it's 100 Solana. So if all the volume is 100 Solana, that means people have actually paid 100 Solana to own this collection. Divide that by the number that are in the collection. So when you divide that by the 10,000, you're going to get 0.1 Solana. Then you can say, okay, it's actually worth $20. What real value, what people have paid. And then you can compare that to the floor price and say, well, the floor price is double that right now. If the floor price is double what people actually paid, we call that overvalued, right? It's worth 20. Sorry, it's worth 10, but the floor price is 20. That's expensive. They're trying to sell for double what it's actually worth. And it can happen the other way. It could be worth 10, but selling for 5. That's a bargain. That's undervalued. And ultimately, economics, supply and demand, it will work out. But when they're all given away for free, we're looking at 6 to 12 months of that working out from what I'm seeing. Not, if you get it within the first 3 months. Great opportunity. Got it early. Also, extremely volatile, could go way down if you don't understand this. So any NFT collection, you got to kind of assume, okay, if I'm paying $10 for the thing, assume people could have got it for free, unless you have reason to believe otherwise. And that's where the community can come in and say, no, we all bought this at this initial price. So for example, in my community, we all bought at 0.05 was our original buy-in when we minted the NFT. So that's kind of like the real floor. You're not going to find an insane amount of people willing to sell below 0.05 because that's what everyone paid to create this thing. Sure, there's people here and there that will do it because they're in a hurry, they're impatient, but you're not going to get someone's not going to come out tomorrow and put 200 at, half that price. Because that would just be dumb,
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to take us into a more of a controversial area now with our questions, if that's all right, because I know that you and your community recently voted to drastically reduce the price of your flagship NFT, the Freedom Eagle. And why the heck would you choose to do that? And what was the thought process behind that decision?
Okay, so I want to be clear here. Like everyone who owns an NFT has the right to sell it on the open market by listing it at whatever price they choose, right? Now, as a community, we had all bought this thing and we understand the value, and we said, well, let's not sell it prematurely. We minted it at 0.05. We launched it at 0.1. And all that is that's the opening price when we put it on the marketplace. You got to pick a price. And then as a community, we all were buying it, selling it, holding it, whatever. And the price went up. The funny thing is we had the one collection. We launched it. It went up really fast because we had a community behind it that believed in it, that invested in it, that put more into it. So the price over a 1 month period went from 0.1 to 0.45. So 450% increase in 30 days. Now, when the price got to double, like 0.2, this thing's getting close to $50. Actually, Solana was up to like close to $300, and we were at 0.2. So it was like $100 for one of these things. And remember what I said earlier, that's starting to get too expensive for beginners. It benefits the collection if more people can own it, because once you own it, you care about it and believe in it and want to support it and want to be a part of it, right? The collection needs owners, or the value is zero. Like nothing's happened. So to solve that problem, we're like, well, we need a more affordable one. These are now $100 a piece. So we made cheaper ones, but we made smaller collections because the community is like, well, we have a pretty big collection. There's like 4,000 of them. What if we just had 600 of them or 700 of them? We all liked that idea. So we made a small collection. Next one was $555. Then it sold really quickly. And then it was more expensive. And then same problem again. So we ended up with a collection of like 4,000 on top, right? Worth $100. It's the one we all bought and minted and sold first, right? So we're all owning that. And then we have these smaller collections that are now, they kind of like not completely sold out, but their value rose really quickly too because they were smaller. So it happened even faster. We gobbled them up. So now we own all these 4 collections, but we realized for someone new coming in, like the one that has the most items, right? It actually is, if you think about supply and demand, it's the biggest supply. So that translates to it actually has the least intrinsic value. There's more of them. They're not as rare as the other 3 collections. So there's more of them. And now it's backwards. It's upside down. It's like, wait a minute. The thing that has the least value is the highest price. That's just, we didn't design it that way. It just ended up being that way. So we realized, okay, someone new coming in has no valid real reason to buy the most expensive thing that's worth the least amount of value. They should buy the other stuff. And that's just common sense. That's what people would want to do. That's what people should do. And that's what people will do. All 3 are true, right? So if we have the huge collection that we all own that we're just waiting for this impossible price, it's going to collect dust. And we're like, wait a minute, like this isn't an asset anymore. Like if we just hold out for this long price, it'll take a while and might not ever happen. It's just dumb. It's like this. If I had a restaurant and said it's $50 for a McDonald's cheeseburger, right? But you could get a filet mignon steak for $5. My meat's going to go bad. My McDonald's stuff's going to go bad, right? I won't sell it. It's stupid. The McDonald's thing should actually be 50 cents because it's the lowest quality. It sucks, right? And the filet mignon should be $50. So what we had to do is like say, okay, you know what? We're stupid if we just hold out for this high price. Like that happened fast. And like any other markets correct themselves when the price is wrong, right? So we just said, you know what? We think it's a good idea to actually sell this cheaper than the other stuff. And we own both. So we're not really hurt by it. It's just a matter of like, okay, if we make this cheaper, new people come into the community, they're going to own it first, just like we did. And then they start to fall in love with the artwork and they start to feel the mission and the vision. And you know what? Just like the people who started this, who founded it, who made it happen, who funded it, who created it all together as a community, new people come in the community get to be part of that club too. It's not like I experienced when I came in. I'm too late. I missed the OG. I don't really feel like I was part of it. Now people can come in and be a part of it the way we were. So, yeah. And what that looks like on the chart, it's a messy, ugly picture, right? It's like, yeah. Oh, bummer. But that is only the picture of one. We don't have 4 separate collections. They're actually all combined. It's all one big collection that's kind of broken into 4. So there's different levels of rarity. There's different prices. And if you look at, because this thing happened, we just said, let's be fair here. Let's make the big collection cheap again. And all the other ones are like, yeah, cool. Now we get to be the kings and the cherry on top. Now we have our rightful place of being the most valuable at the top. So it's like this. We had a value here with all of our small collections, and we had the same value here with the big collection, right? Now the big collection had to drop. It's like, no, it's overpriced. It has to come down to here. So it did. But as it went down, the other ones went up. And it's still the average, it's balanced. It's still balanced. It's just so like anything else in life, if you look at one picture or one dimension of one thing that happened and don't understand the whole picture of how it fits together, you might misunderstand what happened, right? So if you look at one chart, on the one collection, okay, price down. Why did that happen? Well, you can either assume that something bad happened, or you can say, ask questions and find out and do your research and find out, oh no, that was an intentional choice to make everything fair and to balance. And actually between the 4 collections, everything stayed pretty well balanced, so nothing was lost. It just had to happen, And similarly, we see this in our society. We all want to be quick to point the finger and blame because there is a lot of that out there. But, people will be quoted out of context. And if you just listen to the paragraph of that statement, they didn't say anything wrong. But if you say the sentence in a TikTok video, it seems like they're racist or evil or whatever. And there's too much of that happening. So, anytime you're trying to do good, evil people want to attack, or not even, I'm really not even that cynical. I don't really think people are evil. I think it's in our current world, there's people who they don't want to understand. They just want to like, they only have patience to read a headline, and those headlines can be so misleading. Even a text, Christine, like I see it with my wife happen all the time. When the women text each other, there's no context, there's no tone of voice. It's easy to get offended and misinterpret and misread it when it could be read 5 different ways. Like, we need to be more loving and more compassionate, and be a little more patient to find the real story out before we jump to conclusions.
Yes, absolutely. So if people want to learn the real story behind Freedom Eagle and the other 4 collections, or the other 3 collections rather, where can they go to find out?
So we do have a website. It's freedomnftproject.io, or no, freedomnft.io, right? It's just freedomnft.io. Or you can go to our school group, which I believe is Freedom NFT Project. You know what? I haven't really been talking about it. So let's see. What's the URL? Yeah, so school, SKOOL.com/freedom hyphen NFT. So it's just broken up in the URL there. So go to school and search for Freedom NFT and you'll find us. Or you can go to the website, freedomnft.io. No spaces, all one word.
So thinking about long-term strategies, Brian, what is the best strategy? Is it flipping, holding, or is it about building something bigger? What do you think?
Well, when you say long term, one thing in your little preamble there, the thing that we're doing differently is we have a public community. So whether or not you're a member, you can actually read what the members are saying about this, which I think is a huge big deal, right? We're being open, transparent. We're just saying, here's what's going on. And if you want to join the community, which is free to join, you could join and you could participate in that conversation, which I think is really cool. The first couple NFTs I owned, that didn't really exist, right? I was like, I'm buying it, but I'm like, what are the other people who are owning it? What are they thinking? I couldn't talk to them because it's crypto and it's secretive. So long-term strategy. Well, you asked the specific question, what's a long-term strategy? The first thing is decide, okay, what's my time frame? Am I like looking long-term here, or do I want it short-term? And even in the crypto world, that word long-term is kind of funny because like in the crypto world, we see things as normal that go up 100, 200, 300% in a month. That's kind of normal. And somebody in the crypto world kind of said this to me a few years ago. It's like, yeah, in the stock market, like, yay, I made 12% this year in the stock market. That's awesome. And then crypto people are like, man, I only made 12% today. That's kind of a bummer, man. Like, in fact, today, because we made that correction and adjustment, all our other stuff soared, and we saw stuff like 200% gain in one day. And that's temporary because of that correction, but it's like the thing doubled in one day. And the cool thing about crypto and NFTs, there's times where you can buy the next thing and make the floor price go up 30%. So it's almost like an instant profit. I buy the thing, and immediately, the second that transaction's over, it's like if I own 50 of them at $10, the next one listed might be $15, and I just got to buy one at 10, and everything I own will be worth 15. So it's like I've got 50, and that's worth 500. And then if I buy one more for 10, I've spent 510, but now it's worth 50. It's what is it? 750, right? It'll be worth $750 because it's 50% more everything I own. So that's pretty cool, right? Now the downside of that, I'm not saying that's guaranteed. Someone else could come and say, "Oh, I'll take 5." And now it's worth 250. Bummer, sad. Oh, yuck. So long term is really like what does long term mean? So I'll do it in terms of thinking of like, okay, if I spend $100 for an NFT, I want to see the thing being worth 1,000 or 2,000 for $100. To me, that's long term. That's what I mean. Now in the crypto world, just like it happens faster. So that could be 3 months, that could be 3 years, it could be 2, it could be 6 months. Okay. I have no idea what the time is because that really is very subjective. Like in the crypto world, that could be weeks or months, or it could be years. But looking at, okay, I bought the NFT at a floor price of $10. I'm looking for a floor price of 200 or 300 as a long-term kind of a thing. And so I'll contrast that between the short term, and then you'll see what I mean here. So short term is like, hey, I bought it for $10. I want to sell it for 11. There's a lot of people that like to do that. They want to do that. Right? So they flip it up for 10% more. And that's kind of cool and fun. And when you first get started, you're like, yeah, I want to do that. Now, the reason why you want to do that is you're like, oh, I bought this at 10. It could go to 0. I'm afraid this thing is going to crash. If I get 11 before it crashes, I'm cool. So it's kind of a fear thing. Like you don't fully trust it yet. You're testing it out. And you know what? I bought it for 10. What if this can never sell? If I could sell it for 11, I made that little profit. Okay, now I believe that this can actually work. I still might not fully trust it, but at least I have some proof now, a little bit of evidence, right? If I like, what if I just bought it all at 10 and went up to 300, but I could never sell it? That's what people are afraid of. Like, I'm afraid of that. Like, we would all not want to see that happen. So it takes some time to kind of like get to the point of, okay, I believe this will be good 20x from now. But so here's the problem long term. You buy it for, let's just assume the thing goes up. Okay. If it's going to hit 20x and it's going to go from $10 to 200, right? Okay. The 10 might go down to 6 before it goes up to 200. And it's, it's going to do this. It's not a straight line, but let's just assume it takes 6 months to go from 10 to 200, 6 months, right? Which is kind of like, I'm just making 6 months up. No guarantee there, but I've seen it happen in 6 months. I've seen it happen in less. So it's going to go from $10 and somehow 6 months from now, it's $200. Okay. And it could crash to zero after that, but let's just say that's the ride we're looking for. Okay. So now we have to assume that's going to happen. Okay. So if it does happen, if what we want to happen actually happens, what happens to the guy that bought it at 10, sold it at 11? Now it's 200. He can't buy it back at 12 or 10. If he bought it at 10, sold it at 11, he needs to buy it back less than 11 to make money again. So it needs to come back down to 1050 so he can flip it up to 12. And then he sold at 12. He's got to get it cheaper than 12 to play that game again. And he might be able to do it. Sell at 11. Oh, it goes back down to 9. Yay, man, I made 20%. And then it goes up to 13, sells it. Oh, I'm killing it, man. I'm crushing it. Goes down to 10, right? Does it again. Sells at 15. Awesome, man. I'm making 50%. I'm doing this forever. I'm never stopping. He sells it all at 15. Then it goes all the way up to 200. Never comes below 15. That sucks. He missed it. Made a little bit of money, but like if you add all that up, maybe he made 75% on his $100. So he walks away with $75. Meanwhile, the person and he had to do all that work. He was like really following it and like checking his phone every minute and stuff. The person who bought it for 10 is like, okay, when it's 200, I'll sell. They made $200 with like no effort.
Absolutely.
So if you really believe it's going to go up, and we averaged out the fact that, okay, it might dip down a little bit more, but I really believe the tendency is to go up. And then you buy it, making it go up. You just gave it a little bit of a lift to it. You forced it to go up a little. Then you're like, okay, I'm not going to split hairs if it drops another 10 or 20%. I'm just going to hold on to it. And now it's out. No one else can buy it. I own it. And I'm waiting for it to go up. And okay, it might go back down a little bit and it might do that thing. But now I've locked it in at that price. Maybe I just paid 11. Okay, who cares if it's 10 today? I bought it for 11 yesterday. I'm waiting for 200. Okay, if I have another $10, let me buy one more because it's cheaper now. That's so long term. That's if your thing is long term. You're like, okay, I believe this has 10x, 20x potential. You would wait for it to hit 10x or 20x before selling a portion of it, right? Because if you sell too soon, you miss out on that 10x run or that 10x ride. If you're more short term, you're going to do what the flipper does. I bought it at 10. I'll try to sell it 12.50. 25% in a week would be pretty cool. I'm going to try to do that. And then you know what? If it comes back down to 10 again, or maybe I'll buy it back at 10.50 because now it went up a little, and then I'll try to take it to 13. You could play that game, and it's just okay. You're at peace with, okay, if I sell it all at 15 and it never comes back down below 14, I'm never going to buy it again. I'll just have to buy something else. And I'm okay with the $30 or the $75 I made flipping it because I'm not trying to make 200. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really well explained. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So if someone brand new to NFTs is listening to us today, what's one piece of advice you'd give them that they should heed before they start investing anything?
It's going to sound like this is actually going to sound like opposite of what you're asking, but this is the best advice. If you don't own an NFT, you need to own one before you understand any of this. It's all too, like I could sit with you for 3 hours and explain it to you. It won't make sense until you own one. So for instance, in our community, we have a $20 NFT starter course. And I walk you through in Telegram how to buy and sell NFTs. I explain all that to you and actually give you NFTs so that you can have your wallet set up. And I send you like, a dollar or two in Solana, give you the NFTs, and then you can list them. Once you own them and you have them listed and you see how all that works, then this all will make sense. So when you say before you invest, again, it's not technically investing. We're speculating here. You're like, you're buying a comic book or a baseball card or something that you think is okay. I think this painting is going to go up in value in the future. Total speculation. This is total money. Like, this isn't money you need to pay your rent or live on. This is money you would go to the movies with, right? So that kind of a thing, right? Money you can totally afford to lose, because if I buy the couch in my living room and don't like it, I might not be able to sell that back a year from now, right? If I buy a car and I don't like driving it, unless if I'm paying insurance, then I can sell it back to the insurance company but I have to pay for that. But anything I buy, I risk I can't sell it to someone. I bought it, someone else might not want it. So that's true with NFTs, and it's more true with NFTs than even a car, because everyone needs a car. Not everyone wants an NFT. So what was the question, Christine?
Your crucial piece of key advice for someone who is new and wants to start investing.
So really spend $20 and get some NFTs and understand the mechanics of it. And again, like, I offer that so cheap because I want people to just understand how it works. And I tried watching YouTube videos and stuff. It took me a few years till I owned it. I didn't get it. Once I owned it and I had it listed for sale, I understood enough. It's like driving a car. You got to drive a couple blocks to know what driving is. You could be a passenger all your life, but if you've never been behind that wheel, you have to have the experience to understand. You can't intellectually, and there's a feeling to it, right? And this, Christine, like, it's a different feeling that you didn't even imagine that you would have these emotions related to it. So again, it wouldn't be an investment of speculation. It's like, okay, I'm curious about this. I'm willing to spend $20, even if it's worth nothing to me. And even if I decide not to proceed with it, for $20, I'm kind of curious to see how this works. And that's why I sell the starter course. You're just learning how it works to buy and sell it. And as a bonus, you get some NFTs. And the cool thing is you can list them for sale at higher prices. You can actually start to play the game with that, So, but it's if you're afraid of losing $20, you shouldn't be buying NFTs.
So, final question from me today, and thank you so much for sticking it out to the bitter end with me. What's next for you, Brian? Is it more investing, more creating, or something totally different?
So, for me, NFTs is still icing on my cake. It's still like the sprinkles you put on top of the sundae. The reason why, which we haven't covered yet, so I'm glad you asked this question because I get to mention it. The fundamental reason why I'm involved with NFTs right now is because I've always seen NFTs. Okay, it's digital, it's art. I believe there should be something more to it than that. There should be, just like crypto, right? Like, if you're just buying Bitcoin to own Bitcoin, I could see why people would like struggle with owning that. But like Solana actually is a blockchain where it's running business, it's doing something. There's a real value to it. It's practically making life better and practically making things happen. So I wanted NFTs to work that way as well. So for me, 90% of the value I see of NFTs is that, like, I'm an online marketer, an online coach. I teach people how to do marketing kind of stuff online. And that's what I've done for the last 25 years. Now there's a million other people trying to do that as well, my competitors. And I believe, like, we always want to offer more and give more value for the money. And that's how we win in the marketplace. So we got a million people out there selling advice or courses or theories or ideas or software, but it's untangible. Like, show me, like, here, put it right here. Can't do it. I'll tell you how to succeed. I'll tell you how to do your better marketing. I'll help you with your message. It's all important stuff, but at the end, I just paid you 10 grand. What do I have? Well, I told you what to do. So that's the fundamental problem in the online marketing space. So I immediately saw NFTs 5 years ago or 6 years ago as, wow, I can actually give my clients an asset for working with me. So if they pay me 10 grand, I'm still going to do the $10,000 worth of what I was going to do for them. And they're still going to have the knowledge, the experience, the help, the guidance, whatever. But I could give them $5,000 worth of NFTs that they could buy and sell. And you know what? 6 months from now, that could be worth more than what they actually paid me. And they own it, right? So it's like, wow, the holy grail of a good offer is, how do I make this offer more valuable than what any of my competitors are trying to sell for? I'm going to give you an asset that you have. Like no one's willing to do it. Oh no, I just want to sell you my advice. I don't want to give you anything other than that. And then they sell you advice and then they don't really have time to even meet with you because now you're in a group coaching program and stuff. It's a big problem in our industry, right? I'm like, wow, how can I give more value? If I could actually give them something that they could list, NFTs allow me to give someone something for $5,000 that could be worth 50 grand someday. Again, not a promise, but man, it's like if you paid 10 grand to work with me, the burden now is on me to make that a good experience and to make you happy. If you're not happy, then I won't have a business because then I'll have unhappy people out there. That's not good. So it's already hard for me to make sure the person's happy, right? But man, what if someone's like, man, I worked with Brian, paid him 10 grand. That was great. I was happy with that. And I went out and had a more successful business. But then he gave me these NFTs, didn't think anything about it. And that was like a year ago. I'm shocked. I just looked, it's worth 65 grand. Like that's the kind of thing that I look forward to being possible with this, right? And it's the kind of thing where, okay, my clients, they wouldn't have bought NFTs. They wouldn't have like put 5 grand into it. They wanted to work with me. It gives them an extra excuse to work with me. But now I get to do something that I know is good for them because I know more about this than they do. They haven't discovered it yet. Yeah. They haven't done the research. They don't see the trends changing and know that that's going to happen. They don't have 25 years experience of seeing that happen. So it's cool. I can give that to them as an extra bonus on top of what I normally would have. And it can actually be so much more valuable than anything that I can actually do for them otherwise. So to me, that's the real value. Again, you've heard me say real, and I emphasize the word. The real value versus the theoretical value of stuff. And I'm coming from a world of all theoretical value. Hey, pay me 5 grand. I'll write some content for you. That person needs to be able to sell to convert that to money, or let me buy this software. You still need to do the daily actions to convert that to money. This is actually a thing where even if my client fails and doesn't do what they're supposed to do, even though they will swear, and it's nuts. They will swear they'll do everything and they'll pay me 10 grand. They still won't do half of what I recommend them doing. If they do the thing, they'll get the result. This actually lets them, okay, they flake. They don't blame me if they flake. They blame themselves. But still, not good for either of us if they don't get the result. This allows them to actually, if they don't do all this stuff or they fall short, it's another insurance plan, a backup plan for it to still work out in a better way than they had imagined. So that's why I'm really excited about all of this stuff, And then every time I get a new client, the whole ecosystem grows because I'm putting, like a new investor's coming in.
Absolutely.
A new owner. And it allows you to be a part of a community where everyone actually owns a piece of the community versus just we're wasting our time on school for free so someone can make money. It's different.
Absolutely. Nice and exciting new opportunities on the horizon by the sounds of it. And I hope that a lot of people can take advantage of that movement and get great benefits, but also advancing NFTs and the application of NFTs because there are so many wonderful opportunities out there, I think, for all of us. So thank you so much today, Brian, for coming and speaking about all your experiences as a creator, as an investor, as a general NFT and DeFi enthusiast. And I look forward to seeing the future of your community, the growth that you're describing, and hopefully the increasing value of all of your 4 collections. And all my best wishes for the future.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you for watching.